It started like any ordinary congressional hearing, but within minutes, the tension in that marble-walled chamber could have been cut with a knife. Cameras rolled, pens scribbled, and millions of Americans tuned in later to witness what would soon become one of the most unforgettable exchanges on Capitol Hill. Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez leaned forward, her expression sharp and confident. With her signature flair and passionate tone, she took a verbal jab at Senator John Kennedy, subtly mocking his Southern drawl and more pointedly at his law degree. The room chuckled quietly. Some of her allies smiled, certain this would be another fiery moment in her growing collection of viral clips. But what happened next stunned everyone. Kennedy didn't flinch. He didn't raise his voice or even shift in his seat. Instead, he paused, looked directly at TAC, and let the silence stretch for just long enough to make every heartbeat in the room audible. Then, with a calmness that only years of experience and conviction could shape, he delivered a single sentence that would echo across the internet for days. "Congresswoman," he said, his Southern lilt steady but firm, "intelligence isn't measured by how loud you speak, it's shown by how well you listen." The chamber fell silent. Cameras zoomed in on Ocasio. Her confidence flickered for the briefest second. The audience, both in the room and online, could sense the shift. What had started as mockery had turned into a masterclass in composure and humility. Kennedy's quiet strength spoke louder than any argument, and that one line, just 47 seconds after X's remark, became the turning point of the entire exchange. For the next few moments, Kennedy continued methodically, respectfully laying out his legal reasoning, referencing past court cases and constitutional precedent. He wasn't showing off his degree, he was demonstrating the very foundation of it, reason over rhetoric. The contrast was striking, one speaking from passion, the other from principle. It was the kind of moment that reminded the nation that wisdom doesn't need to shout to be heard. Social media exploded. Clips of the exchange flooded TikTok and YouTube, with titles like "Kennedy's calm destroyed X mockery" and "the 47-second lesson in respect." Even critics of Kennedy couldn't help but admit that his poise had been remarkable. Commentators across the political spectrum weighed in, some praising X's boldness, others applauding Kennedy's grace under fire. But nearly all agreed, the moment had power. Yet beneath the political theatrics, there was something deeper at play. Americans watching saw a reflection of something they'd long been missing in their leaders: a dignity in disagreement. Kennedy's response wasn't about winning an argument, it was about restoring civility. His composure reminded viewers that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it's the quiet conviction to stand firm without losing respect for those who oppose you. In the days that followed, letters poured into Kennedy's office. Some came from law students who said his words inspired them to study harder. Others came from everyday citizens, weary of division, grateful to see a glimpse of maturity in a place too often ruled by ego. Even some of X's supporters admitted privately that the exchange had made them think differently about the power of tone. The viral moment wasn't just a political flashpoint, it became a symbol. It reminded people that while intelligence and education can be questioned, integrity cannot, that humility, when paired with conviction, can outshine even the fiercest rhetoric. By the end of the week, Kennedy was asked in an interview how he felt about the clip's explosion online. His response was as steady as it was heartfelt. "I don't take joy in embarrassing anyone," he said quietly, "but I do believe in standing for what's right up, and sometimes, the truth speaks for itself." That was it, the perfect full circle. One moment of mockery turned into a lesson in grace. One sentence reminded millions that real power isn't in shouting the loudest, but in speaking the truth, calmly and clearly. And as the story faded from headlines but remained etched in memory, it left behind a message that transcended politics. You don't have to raise your voice to make yourself heard. Sometimes, silence and wisdom do the talking, and that's when the world truly listens.